for South Africa. I'm sure one man who is also happy is Marc Strydom, sports editor, timeslive.co.za, joining us all the way from Durban, South Africa. Great to have you with us, Marc.
Thanks for having me. Hello, watchers, news, and yes, I'm happy. Yes, I think we can smile.
You can. I mean, for Hugo Broos, fans have said he's doing amazingly well with the South African national team, and I'm sure you agree with that as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, look, the transformation in the team since he arrived in mid-2021 is pretty spectacular. He's now going on, it's a few months, I think he's about 4 months away from being the longest-serving Bafana coach, which is saying something given how SAFA have changed coaches. The last 18 months or so have been actually, I think they've lost 2 games in that space, and one of those Nigerians will know well was the semi-final on penalties, where Bafana in the AFCON in Ivory Coast this year, where Bafana really gave Nigerians know they gave the Super Eagles a tough game. That game, it was 1-1 and only went out on penalties. So yeah, I mean, bronze medalist at AFCON, first semi-final appearance in 24 years. And they seem to be going from strength to strength. They haven't lost since AFCON. And again, came to Nigeria and drew a World Cup qualifier, came home and beat Zimbabwe 3-1. Now, yeah, then the first 2 games of AFCON, of the qualifiers, our league hadn't started, so about half the players hadn't played. There were other matches going on, but a lot of the teams hadn't even played. So those first 2 games were difficult, and they still came out with 4 points with a draw against Uganda at home, last gasp win against South Sudan away, and now the 5-0. One of the best performances under Hugo Broos. So really, some signs of life in Bafana after, what, 2 decades of horrible underachievement. It's great to see it. I think it's good for African football.
Definitely great for African football, knowing that South Africa, one of the powerhouses when it comes to African football, they're beginning to find their shape again. But then Uganda and South Africa have 7 points each. Congo have 3 points, and South Sudan have no points. Now, the co-leaders will surely get to face off again. But looking at that performance yesterday, do you think that South Africa have what it takes to actually topple Uganda? I know two teams will qualify from the group, but of course, South Sudan and Uganda and South Africa seem to be going head-to-head, and it looks like a tough one for both of them.
Yeah, I think Bafana have what it takes to top this group. I do, especially on last night's performance. Look, Uganda away is going to be the tough one, and then the last game is South Sudan at home. So a draw in Uganda, I think then Bafana are definitely going to top the group. I think from a morale perspective, they'd like to top the group, but the main thing is qualification. Like that bronze medal at the last AFCON was something to build on. And I think Bafana absolutely need to be at the next AFCON. And right now, like you say, 7 points to Uganda, 7 points to Africa, 3 to Congo. It's looking like Bafana are going to go through. I'm going to put my neck on the block here, Udoka, and I'm going to say, I think this Bafana have the potential to reach the final. And once they reach the final, who knows? Judging on the last AFCON performance, I think the last AFCON, they were still inexperienced as this combination. And to go there and to do what they did, winning a bronze medal, sometimes having to squeeze through, but upsetting Morocco, the World Cup semi-finalists along the way, shows the potential. I think they're going to be a lot more confident in the next one. And the combination under Hugo Broos and some of the players coming through, Teboho Mokoena, I was really surprised he didn't go overseas after the last AFCON, after the AFCON he had. Some young players coming through, the 19-year-old Rory Petzer and Mofokeng, who came off the bench. New players coming in. Oswin Apollos, who had 3 assists. The first 3 goals were all from Oswin Apollos' assists, player from Polokwane City. Another young player coming through. I honestly think this Bafana have the potential to go to a final. We know Hugo Broos has won an AFCON with a Cameroon of a lot of young players. I think this is the first Bafana that we can actually feel might challenge for the trophy.
Oh, okay, maybe don't jinx it. Do not jinx it, because I mean Nigerian fans are also expecting. During the last Nations Cup, we were hoping that Nigeria was going to win the Nations Cup and play the final against Ivory Coast, but it didn't happen for the team. But of course, South Africa no doubt possess a huge amount of talent in that squad as well. But let's talk about Teboho Mokoena before I let you go. Being sidelined by Mamelodi Sundowns, turning up for Bafana, scoring a goal. Do you think this is a statement for him and he just might get back to the Mamelodi Sundowns squad or leave during the transfer window when it opens?
Yeah, I mean, possibly this is what is needed for Teboho to go overseas, especially with his form carrying on with the national team, which should get that. Sorry, can we just wait? Sorry, Dorka.
It's fine.
Especially with his form continuing as it is, it might be the push that's needed to get him out of Sundowns. There's been a coaching change at Sundowns. Rory Mokoena has moved to Wydad, as a lot of people who in Africa will know, and Mamelodi has come in and wants to stamp his authority on the team. Teboho in the first few matches, I've got to say, was not very good for Sundowns. So you could understand why the coach seemed disappointed and has sidelined him, but I think he's either going to force his way back into Sundowns by his performances by the national team. Yes, it might be the push that's needed for him to go. He's a really good player. Look, I'm not saying at his age, he's in his mid-20s, that he can go to the English Premier League and make it. We know how tough that is. People like Percy Tau couldn't make it in the Premier League. But he can certainly go to a mid-level, entry-level sort of league like Belgium, Portugal, and do really well and then move up from there. So, yeah, no, it would be great to see Teboho play.
All right, we'll see how that turns out for Teboho right there, playing for Bafana and Mamelodi Sundowns. But of course, thank you, Marc Strydom, for joining us today. And hopefully we'll have you again maybe next week when South Africa plays and get to win the next game, talking about the Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers. Thank you for joining.
Always good to have me. Sorry, I wasn't getting ahead of myself saying Bafana can win an AFCON, but I really think we'll potential in this team.
It's all right. It's all right. We will look forward to the tournament. All these teams will qualify and we'll see how far they will go. Thank you, Marc.
Always good.